Hey, beautiful souls.
Welcome to Bitter the Beautiful. I am Coach Charmin D. Energetic, heartfelt, and always keeping it real.
And I'm Coach Lynette, more reserved, tenacious, honest, and a little funny,
Together, we're here to guide you through transforming your bitterness.
into something truly beautiful. Join us on this journey of healing and empowerment.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to another heartfelt episode of Bitter the Beautiful. I am your host, Coach Charmin D, joined by my amazing co-host, Coach Lynette. Today, we'll be discussing a deeply personal but yet universal topic, embracing gratitude in the absence of a loved one. Loss can be incredibly difficult, but even in the face of such pain, gratitude has the power to heal and transform. Let's explore how we can cherish the love and memories while moving forward with hope and peace. Coach Lynette?
All right, we're talking about gratitude again. So let's start with our scriptures for the episode. Of the first one is Psalm 34:18 in the NIV version. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. This verse reminds us that God's presence is near during moments of grief, offering comfort and strength when we feel most vulnerable. The next scripture is 1 Thessalonians 5:18. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring pain, but finding reasons to be thankful even amid trials, trusting that God's plan is greater than our understanding. So, we're going to start early with our questions today. Coach Sherman, what are some specific moments with your loved ones that you are most grateful for? And how can reflecting on these memories bring comfort to you during moments of grief?
Wow, that's a really good question. I'm most grateful for the everyday moments that seem ordinary and at times are so much meaningful. It's so meaningful. I don't think, I don't want to stray away from answering the questions. I think we take time for granted. That's just what I have to say sometimes. The moments when we're laughing together, when we're having dinner together. I just lost my aunt a couple of months ago, and I just remember her smile. She always had encouraging words, even in tough times. Like I've mentioned before that 22 years ago, right before my marriage, 2 weeks before my marriage, I lost my dad. And my aunt was such a support. When I tell you, she was so supportive, and she just recently passed away. And I try to remember when I get sad about the unconditional love that she showed, and when she would just encourage me. And let me tell you, she would cry me sometimes too. I'm just saying, I love you on there. She was like, I would say, my favorite aunt, and she wasn't actually my aunt. She's my mother's aunt, which means she was my great aunt. But we had such an amazing relationship. Those are the moments that give me joy. Remembering the times we shared, remembering the laughters we shared, remembering when she supported me at one of my worst times, which was supposed to be one of the happiest times. Those are the times that I try to remember and be grateful for, those opportunities that I had to spend with her. And in regards to reflecting on those moments bring comfort because they remind me of the love and the impact that my loved one, that she had on me. It shifts my focus from the pain and her absence to the gratitude and the time we had together. Often peace and a sense of closeness, even through the harder times, will help you to be able to deal with the fact that you've lost someone that close. Coach Lynette, what do you think? What are your thoughts about those two questions?
Yeah, I mean, just like you're reflecting on, you've experienced two close losses. And I think about the losses that I've experienced as well, especially losing your dad like right before your wedding. I'm sure that was hard, but as you reflect and continue to reflect on the support that you did have, and even though you recently lost your aunt, you still have those precious memories. And so that all makes a difference. I thought about like all of my grandmothers, right? Anyone, whether they were a biological grandmother or spiritual or otherwise, um, all of them could cook, right? Like all of them can really like throw down, whether it was Caribbean cuisine or Southern cuisine. Like I can just like when certain occasions come around, it was like, ooh, I wish I had this person such and such, or this person, whatever the food, the food item was. I think about now that we're in the month of Thanksgiving, and there's certain foods that everyone enjoys. All of my grandmothers have specialties, and I miss that because I don't have my grandmothers around anymore. There is one who is actually in her 90s right now, and I just saw her on Tuesday celebrating another person that was like a spiritual grandmother to me. And I just highlight the good times. I am sad that they're gone. I miss them greatly. And I wish that I took more advantage of being under them and learning more. But I recognize the traits that have been instilled in me, whether it's cooking, whether it's socializing, whether it's serving, ministering, and being good to people. Like those are things that live within me. And so their memory lives in me. And so in those moments, I turn my grief into gratefulness or into thankfulness. Coach Charmin?
Wow, that's yeah, that is amazing. I love when you talk about your grandmothers and how they all know how to cook. I think that's so awesome. I think that is so it's awesome. And then when you highlight and you talk about like the in a sense, I don't want to make it lesser than it really is, like your surrogate the different people who have spoken into your lives and the different people who help you and encourage you through things. I think, again, I don't want to sound, I just want to say we take things and time and people for granted, that they're here forever, and that's just not how life is. The word of God says it is unto man to die. I'm paraphrasing that scripture, but it's real. So I would say to that, just make sure you're spending the time and you're building the memories. You're building the memories. So let's talk about some applications, okay? First, start a gratitude journal for loved ones lost. Write down memories, lessons, and moments you're thankful for with that loved one. This practice helps you to reflect on good while processing the grief. It provides a tangible way to celebrate their life and to shift the focus from the absence to the appreciation. That's a really good application. Gratitude journeys. I've heard it before, but I never thought about doing a gratitude journey. It definitely will help you to keep the memories alive, like the lessons you've learned from them. Yes. Application 2. Remember, Try to do your best to remember the good and to remember the times with this loved one. Set aside some time to just think about the memories that you've had with them, that you've built with them. Share stories. One of the things that I love about my aunt is she was the matriarch. She knew everything about our family from beginning to end. And prior to her passing away, one of the things that we would do is she would tell you about, okay, well, this is Uncle such and such, and this is Aunt such and such, and she was married this, but I cherish those memories. I can, and then sometimes you gotta keep that because you gotta be the person to tell your children about it. So think about those things that you can do. This creates a sense of connection and gratitude for the time that you spent with them. So how about cherishing those moments by sharing stories, especially with family members that you've gotten that you've gleaned from them? Coach Lynette?
Oh my gosh, you just brought back a really good memory. My maternal grandmother was the family's family tree. She knew everyone that was related, even third and fourth, fifth cousins, twice removed. She knew the family history, and it was such a jewel. And I did not learn to appreciate it until I got older. So, I mean, literally every time. So, my maternal grandmother and we did not always get along when I was younger. I was just very respectful, but she just tried to give me all of the information that she had, that she was new. And it was almost like I was like, lady, like, this is too much. I'm too young for this. Why are you giving me all of this information? But as I got older, I started to listen more. I started to pay attention to how she cooked and, how she cleaned and how she spoke to people and how she just carried herself. And then the family history. A lot of the stuff was repetitive and I took that for granted. So, we were able to salvage because her sister also was the same way. So between my mother and my second cousin, we were able to gather as much information as we could have. And so we have the family tree as far as we can go back. But if you have someone like that in your life and you take them for granted or you ignore them or they're frustrating or aggravating you, I want everyone to really just stop and take a look at the gift that you have, because sometimes we don't recognize those gifts. There are some recipes that my grandmother, both of them had, and it's like, wow, I would really, love to just sit down. My paternal grandmother, before, I want to say maybe 2 months before she passed away, she gave me her bread recipe, which is amazing. And so, I'm sorry, Coach Shara, but that one just really, it just did something to me. I can smell, man, I'm not eating bread that much anymore. So I'll make it for somebody, make myself a small one. So application number 3, lean on faith for strength. Turn to prayer and scripture during moments of sadness. Trust that God is with you, offering comfort and guidance. The outcome of this is that it strengthens your spiritual foundation and reminds you that you are never alone in grief. You are never alone in grief. You do not have to go through grief by yourself. Even if you go to a community center, depending on where you live, your local church. I've learned that when you're going through, it's always good to help somebody else, because when you're lifting someone else up and helping someone through, your problems, your worries, your grief becomes less because you focus on somebody else. Not to say that you should not go through the stages of grief. Absolutely. Do not sweep it under the rug. Go through the grief, but get support. You don't have to do it alone. Okay. Number 4, focus on building new connections. While honoring the past, allow space for new relationships and experiences that bring joy and healing. This encourages forward movement and helps create new memories that complement the cherished ones. And I recently was able to cherish a memory of one of my grandmothers in the gospel that recently passed away. And during the repast, many of the young ladies, and we're much older now, got together and we thought about the songs because she was all about prayer and worship and outreach. And there were some songs that she made up. There were some songs that were not. And we just went down memory lane singing so many of the songs that she taught us specifically. And I just had an amazing time of moments that I cherished as a child and that I still remember at excuse me, as an adult. So focus on building new connections and even rekindling old ones that will turn into a healthy relationship. But you should never walk this life alone, especially in a time of grief. Coach Man?
You know what? I love what you said, Lynette. One, when you talked about how you shared recipes with your grandmother who passed away, that is one of the things that really helps you to remember, to stay in that space of remembering the impact she had by making up that recipe, putting it together, and enjoying it. That is really, really, really key. And also about how you celebrated the legacy of your surrogate grandmother who spoke into your lives and spoke into so many different people's lives, that how you guys got together for her homegoing service and celebrated her and talked to her and sung the song. I heard y'all singing the songs that she made up or the songs that she just had on point. I love it because that creates lasting memories. Think about it. Created a memory with them as you guys got together and you were singing. I mean, like, it was so hard. When I saw it, I cried. So I think those are very, very, very important memories to hold on to. Especially when someone is as near and dear as she was to you guys. Those are very, very important, those times of celebration. And I did notice one thing, and just a reference in regards to the woman that passed. I don't want to give names, but just recently, one of the things that I did notice is that she had so much impact on so many different people's lives. But I did notice that they celebrated her, like for birthdays. You know how sometimes they tell you, give your flowers before. I noticed, like, I saw pictures. I was watching the slide, so I saw that they celebrated birthdays, and it's just amazing. And I think it's very true to know that it's definitely important to give your flowers before that person is gone. Let them know how much you love them. Let your family know how much you care. Listen, if you fighting and fussing with somebody, tomorrow's not promised. The tomorrow is not promised. Know that tomorrow's is not promised. We don't know when the time is coming. We don't know. So one of the things we need to do is get past, heal those bitter wounds, get over it, and go make up. Because Jesus said so. I didn't say it. He wants us to love on each other.
Yeah.
Because love transcends all things.
All things.
So here are some true facts and some stats. According to Harvard Health Publishing, practicing gratitude helps reduce symptoms of depression and improves emotional well-being, even in time of loss. Studies show that people who focus on gratitude after losing a loved one reports a 20% faster recovery from grief than those who dwell on the pain. You can't stay stuck. Psychological Today notes that journaling about gratitude can increase feelings of emotional closeness and and happiness by up to 25%. Let me repeat that. Psychological Today notes that journaling about gratitude can increase feelings of emotional closeness and happiness by up to 25%. Just journaling makes a difference. It helps you get it out. It helps you remember. You can go back and look at it again. What do you think, Coach Lynette?
Yes, yes, yes. Um, Journaling actually helps. If you are a writer or not, as Psychology Today said, um, I have several, I think several is not the word because it's much more than several journals that I use for different reasons. I have a journal where I just let everything out. I have one that's more on the deeper side, that's spiritual. I have one that's a prayer journal. Yes, the spiritual and the prayer journal are two different ones. Um, but in the my all-in-one journal, I just express myself in many different ways, right? There are times when I draw and just let it out. There are times when I draw and I write. There are times when I just write one or two words or a sentence and that's it. I just needed to release that. And that's really what it does. It releases the day. Another term that I recently learned from Dr. Stella, who was um, on an episode a few episodes ago, brain dumping, getting everything off of your mind out on paper. And whether it's journaling or voice notes that you would leave yourself, I think that takes up a little more storage. So I would rather write, but that's me. Learn what is going to work for you so that you can take everything that's on your heart and on your mind and dump it out so that you don't dump it out and take it out on people. And then you can really get in tune with your emotions and build an awareness. But journaling is a way. Not everyone likes to write, right? But there are different ways that you can journal. Like I said, you can do a voice note, you can draw. I'm into canvases. I just made a leaf recently, and a leaf and a journal. I'm trying to show Coach Shaman, but it's not working right now. Um, but whatever way that you need to release that is safe for you and others, effective to release your emotions and stay close to your loved one that you may have lost. And a loved one lost is not always by them passing away or through death. A loved one lost can be through divorce, can be through a severance of any type of friendship or relationship. Um, but it's so important that you learn how to release your feelings. I see back in the day, like a lot of women, and even today, but I'm thinking of an older generation who would act like nothing is bothering them. And while some may have had others to vent to, a lot of older women took a lot and said, oh, it's okay. I'll be all right. One, some learned how to pray and really cast their cares onto God. And the other, some people held in so much that I think that, it kind of overtook them because they didn't release it. There are different ways to release your emotions, whether through writing, through speaking, through crying, whatever it is, but make sure that you release it so that you don't act out in a way. Oh, I didn't think I was going to say that much, but hey. But journaling is my thing, as you can tell. But because I can write on pages and pages and pages, that's because I'm an empath naturally. And so I hold a lot of feelings. And if I hold on it too much, it's just not good. It's not good for me and it's not good for others. So I've learned to release my feelings. And if that is you, just get a notebook. You can go to a discount store and purchase one. You can use the paper that is in your copier, your printer, and just start writing down your thoughts. And you never know what's going to come out when you start writing. So pick up a pen and paper, a whiteboard, whatever it is that you need to do, and get it out. Release your feelings. You do not have to hold on to that. You are not meant to hold on to that. I don't know why I'm staying there, but I pray that whoever needs to hear that you would have the release that you need in this season, and your loss will not overtake you. Whew. So, finding gratitude through memories. Memories of a loved one can be a source of gratitude rather than sorrow. Reflecting on the joy, lessons, and love they brought into your life allows you to focus on what remains in your heart rather than what is lost. Cherishing those moments helps keep their presence alive in a meaningful way. Gratitude can also aid in healing. It helps to shift the focus from pain to peace. While the loss is real, practicing gratitude for the time shared can provide emotional closure and help to reduce the weight of grief. It becomes a way to honor their life and the positive impact they had on yours. Another activity I participated in this week was creating a gratitude tree. And I actually did it at work. Isn't that lovely? Where we drew, we were using, whatever office equipment or supplies that we had. We used a hanging file folder. We drew our hand to our forearm to create like the bark of a tree, and added the roots of the tree on there, and then we painted some leaves in a very interesting way, and then we had to tear out those leaves, and our assignment was to every day add a leaf and write one thing that you're grateful for on that leaf. So in the practice of gratitude, if you see something as big as a tree, however whatever size you choose to draw it, you're focusing on the gratitude. And if there's a lot of negativity or grief or just negative feelings that you're feeling, as I said earlier, go and help someone else. But another way is to focus on the gratitude. Make yourself a tree, make yourself a gratitude wall. I love post-its of every color, every size, every shape. Make a post-it wall, and just every day write 3 words or 3 things that you are grateful for. You can do it in the morning and you can do it in the evening, one or the other, or both, so that you will stay in a grateful mindset. Darkness and light cannot dwell in the same place. So it's good that you take the light and you shine it over the darkness, and the darkness will dispel. Coach Charmin, I'm off my soapbox.
Let go on. That's what the word says. The word says. Listen. So this is a very sensitive and an emotional topic. And now, especially around the time of the holiday seasons, it's very tough because especially if it's new that you've lost this loved one recently and have to go through your first Thanksgiving and your first Christmas without them. The first are the toughest, but know that you have a God that is limitless and his love abounds all things. So just think about it like that. But what I suggest you also do, I suggest you trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. Let that be number 1. And number 2, pray. But also reach out to other people who may be having a similar experience. Or if you need to reach out to people who's going to help to encourage you that, this is your first. And yes, we see you hurting. Try to connect. Don't do this alone. Don't isolate, because that's not a good thing. Try to connect to people. Try to do something that you've never done before. Like go out to a restaurant by yourself. It's cool. Lynette does it all the time. I'm telling you, it's cool. So
Yep.
reach out to others who may also miss this person and share your gratitude together. Talk about the things that he or she has encouraged you to do. Talk about the times they had to pop you too. Yeah, those things too. Offering support can create a sense of community and shared healing. Letting gratitude guide your remembrance can help transform the pain of the loss into the celebration of the life and ongoing influence. Gratitude doesn't erase the pain of loss, but it gives us a way to honor our loved ones and find peace in the memories we shared. It is about celebrating their impact on our lives and allowing their love to inspire us to move forward. Coach Lynette?
Yes, Coach Charmaine, grief is very real. Having a loss is very real, because you miss the person, because they're not in your space anymore, because you may never see them again until you get to heaven. And if we allow ourselves to say there's someone in our community that says, or she says, and it has been said to her, you get 2-3 days the max, and that's what you get to have a pity party. And then we're getting up and we are moving forward. Doesn't mean that you're erasing their memory. It doesn't mean that you're not going to hurt. But staying in a pity party, you can end up staying there. And that's why it's very important to have that support of a friend, of a neighbor, of a loved one, that you don't have to go through it on your own. If you need to go in your room and cry and release whatever way, right? Have somebody in the next room who can be there to support you. And some people may not have that. Call somebody on the phone and just say, I don't need you to say anything. I just need to know that somebody is here. But don't go through this alone. Whatever your loss is, whatever you're grieving over, try gratitude. Even when there's been times when I've cried. In my journal, you can see like the areas on the page that were wet because of my tears. And I've learned to call them liquid prayers. There's a song by Natalie Wilson, and it's called Liquid Prayers. And sometimes you can't say anything. Sometimes when your heart is in that place, just let out your liquid prayer, and it's okay. But God has also turned your mourning into dancing. There's also a verse that talks about putting on the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. And that's gratitude. That's showing gratitude to God and praising. I can say that when I've been in a grieving space, I can't listen to the slow worship music because sometimes it'll keep me there, right? And there are times when I have to put on some quiet music, some shouting music, something I can move to, dance, whatever, bop my shoulders on my head. And it you feel the difference, right? When you do things like that. And then you're grateful because you're still here. And there's a reason why you're still here. There's something left for you to do. There's something left for you to do. So when we use gratitude as a tool, it is powerful for transformation. It can turn your grief into a reflection of love and hope. So let's continue to embrace gratitude, even in the absence of those we cherish. So Just to lift your spirits up just a little bit, I'm gonna sing a song. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna sing a song. But I didn't want to end the episode on a low note. So we hope that everyone will enjoy their Thanksgiving holiday with friends and family. And if you don't have somewhere to go, sit down in a restaurant because you won't be the only one there. Go for a walk, and make it a gratitude walk. Just saying that you're thankful. Everyone doesn't have all five senses, right? um, just learn to be grateful. We're going to be grateful. And as you watch this episode or listen to this episode, go in the chat and let us know what you're grateful for. And we'll comment in as much speed as we can, but let us know what you're grateful for in this season. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're not subscribed to this podcast, please go ahead and subscribe. There are some lovely things that we are sending via email, and we would just love to hear from you, our audience. We thank you for listening to us and thank you for supporting us through this year. Enjoy your holiday, enjoy your friends, your family, your peace, your joy, and live and walk in gratitude. Until next time, thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
As we wrap up today's episode, we want to extend our deepest gratitude to you, our listeners. Transitioning from bitter to beautiful isn't just a moment, it's a movement, a continuous journey of transforming pain into power, one heart at a time.
And to all our first-time listeners, welcome to the family. We are a community of souls committed to healing, growth, and transformation. Click on the link in the bio to subscribe to our mailing list and tune in every week. When you subscribe, you'll also receive information about our live pop-up rooms on Clubhouse.
As we embrace life's journey and find the beauty in overcoming bitterness, remember, bitterness isn't beautiful, and your healing is just the beginning of a beautiful new chapter.
Don't forget, new episodes are released every Saturday. Whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or Listen Notes, there is a space for you here to find healing, inspiration, and strength.
Thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep embracing the journey, keep healing, and keep transforming. Here's to turning all our bitter experiences into beautiful victories. See you next time.